Hey, some of y'all think that your dog actually has allergies. But what if the itching, red paws, smell, constant licking actually is something else? Maybe the environment, maybe it's the food you're feeding. What if it's yeast? What if it's inflammation? What if it's something outside of just saying, oh, he's allergic to this or that? You know how many people I get writing to me telling me their dog actually has a chicken allergy? And when I ask them, what are you feeding? Oh, I'm feeding the kibble that's the chicken kibble. And when I feed that, he breaks out. Well, in reality, your dog may not have a chicken allergy. Do you know the entire processes and all the ingredients that are in that bag? It's not just chicken, right? And what ends up happening a lot of times is I'll people tell you what, take them off the bag and either feed raw chicken or feed cooked chicken. Do that. If he gets worse, then immediately you realize that it's a chicken allergy. But if he gets better, then you realize it isn't a chicken allergy. I'll dare to tell you that over 90% of the people tell me it's not a chicken allergy after they try that. But you wouldn't know because you don't know what questions to ask. Tonight's live is about giving you insight. Okay, this is not an anti-vet. This is not a medical diagnosis. This is about knowing what questions to ask, what to look for. Itching does not automatically mean allergies. Paw licking does not automatically mean allergies. Um, ear smell, ear smell does not automatically mean allergies. It could be something else, and that's what the conversation about tonight, what it's all about. Let me bring in my host with the most. Money Mizike, where you at, Money Mizike? Boom, there you are. What's up, man?
What's going on, fam?
Hey, we're gonna be talking tonight about how can we ask questions to differentiate what's an allergy and what's not an allergy. A lot of times I get people hitting me up constantly. Oh, my dog's allergic to this. My dog's allergic to that. Bottom line is, how do you know your dog is allergic? Could it be that you keep treating the symptoms enough to never realize that it was never an allergy to begin with? Like one of the things I tell people, or one of the first things I look at to realize whether we're dealing with an allergy or not, is yearly pattern. If you tell me every single April, my dog starts to break out, that, not even April, we could go into stations. Every spring, this starts to happen, or every winter, this starts to happen. Then if you're feeding the same thing, then it's really not an allergy. I mean, I hate to break it to you that way. If the dog during the summer, winter, during fall, he's doing fine with what you're feeding, but he doesn't do well during spring, that is not an allergy. Okay. That is the environment around him or her has changed. And therefore, you need to change what you're feeding. Years ago, Mike, I know you've been watching me for a couple of years. Do you recall because let me tell you guys a little insight on me. I'm a dog breeder. I've been breeding American Bullies now for 10 years and breeding overall since 2010. Do the math. What I have evolved into is about 6 or 7 years ago, I would feed raw during the summer and kibble during the winter, right? And because I started noticing that my dogs would break out whenever spring, summer would come around. By the way, I live in a very high humidity area in Southeast Texas. All right. So those of you that are living in southern states, you probably realize exactly what I'm talking about. My point is, I started testing and evaluating and realizing that the same thing I was feeding my dog in the winter is not the same thing I could feed in the spring or summer. Right. I also noticed, and Mike, I want you to tell me, Mike lives a little bit more northeast of me. He lives in Arkansas. I want you to tell me if you noticed that your dog's coats change during the winter months versus the summer months.
Yeah, there are some changes. And
Okay.
I really like the way that you articulated that because I think that people don't realize that's the way to tackle it, is to try to oversimplify what the dog is taking in to try to pinpoint what exactly is going wrong and reverse engineer it that way. That's just the best way to do it. I really love that way of thinking. I think that's the nail on the head right there.
Real quick, I just want to say happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. All right. And nothing but love to my lady over here, Miss Frida Strivia. We had a little
Happy Mother's Day, Mama.
here today. Yeah, nothing but love for Mama. Yeah, Mike, what people don't seem to realize is that even if you stop and think about humans for a minute versus dogs, okay? Humans, the amount of calories that we consume during the summer months, depending what your activity level is, but I'm just talking about if you were to just stand under the shade all day, right?
Right.
Your consumption of calories is going to be different during the summer than it will during the winter. In fact, during the winter, you might burn more calories because your body's trying to keep itself warm versus the summer, okay? The very same thing is happening to dogs, except their metabolism is 7 times faster than ours, okay? They are carnivores. Their digestive system, just their intestines alone, are about 7 to 8 feet versus ours, which average somewhere around 30 feet, right? Because we're not just carnivores. We're also herbivores. This is important to understand so you can understand what's going on with your dog, okay? If you think you're going to be feeding your dog the same kibble throughout the entire year, and you're not going to get any type of allergy-like symptoms where you have hot spots or you have a Dorito or a musty smell, if you don't have ear infections and so on, consider yourself lucky. Majority of the dogs, in particular the bully breeds, that's what I breed, okay? In particular bully breeds, they're going to have a very difficult time when it comes to spring and summer. Think about it for a minute. Spring usually, there's some of you that live out in the middle of the desert, so this might not apply. But at least for where I live, when spring rolls around, that's quote unquote our rainy season, right? That's when the temperatures have now climbed, right? You're no longer in winter, but whenever a cool front comes in, you're getting rain. This is important because rain is going to increase the humidity level, the environment's humidity level. When that happens, then your dog's ear, skin, fur is constantly being exposed to higher humidity. What happens to bacteria, Mike? What do you think happens to bacteria whenever you add humidity? And
when the humidity and the heat will activate it, will make it grow and come alive, and the opposite of that, freezing temperatures for long enough can kill it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Whenever you go ahead and you bring in heat and humidity and you combine that, now bacteria growth multiplies faster. Fungal growth is going to multiply faster. So if you're feeding, and I'm going to use chicken kibble as an example for now, if you're feeding chicken kibble throughout the year, in particular winter, and the dog's not having reactions, yet when spring and summer come, all of a sudden he or she's starting to react to it. What that's really telling you is it's not an allergy. The environment has changed, right? The stress level in the dog's body externally now has changed because his or her immune system now has to fight a lot harder than it did in the wintertime to fight off these bacterial and fungal loads that are now multiplying faster because of the outside environment. Now, so far I've been hitting you with nothing more with the outside environment. But what changes on the outside ends up changing on the inside. Let me give you a clear point to get to your to the fact, or to bust the myth of everything is just an allergy. So recently, we've been having storms where I'm living at, right? Southeast Texas, Cleveland, Texas. We've been getting a couple of days here and there that we get rain and we get puddles, okay? So I've always told people that one of the things I do as a dog breeder is I clean up poop myself. I don't pay for anybody to do that. For me, it's ultimately important that I'm looking at how my dogs are pooping, because the way your dogs poop is telling you everything that's going on the inside. Remember one thing, guys. If you're dealing with yeast infection, if you're dealing with anything else, everything will reflect on the poop, whether you like it or not. That's where it's going to reflect. So let me give you the rest of the story. So all of a sudden, I go back there and I start cleaning up poop, and I start seeing more wet poop than normal. I haven't changed what I'm feeding. Their water consumption, at least, in the buckets that we have, I pretty much write down everything that's going on a weekly basis this way. And that's why we keep a routine, because when you do everything routine, and anything that stands outside of that routine immediately is a red flag.
Right.
And there was no red flags to that. So I started noticing in the poop, there was little white dots. I immediately know, because I've been doing this long enough, that that's parasites, right? That's a parasite infection. So because we feed raw, right, we go ahead and we deworm our dogs once every 30 days. But what had happened is I went ahead and dewormed on the last day of last month, right? And by, say, May 3rd, May 4th, that's when I see wetter poop, not diarrhea. It's just wetter, pastier, and I'm seeing dots. Immediately, I realize if the water levels are fine, what we're feeding has been fine up to now, they're not breaking out or anything. I already know, for one, they picked up worms. Where do you think they picked them up, Mike?
Well, I know your neighbors have chickens, but I think it's probably washed in with the rain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the water puddles that they're drinking at whenever I'm turning my back, because my dogs are just as facetious, or as every bit of little rascals that your dogs are whenever
Yes.
I'm not looking.
Man, they'll get a lick of a puddle so fast.
It is getting a lick of a puddle. It almost seems like it's their thing. They can't be hot for too long or anything. And in the minute I'm not looking, and the reason I know that this is happening, guys, years ago, when I was recording videos, pack dynamic videos, I would put my, GoPros in different parts of the yard, and I started catching them, right, drinking out of puddles and looking around, like when dad ain't looking and he's right behind the other side of the mound and he just can't see me. Puddles fair game. So yeah,
that's such a funny thing. Before we get too far past that, I've been really studying that with my dogs recently, and they're so sneaky like that. Like they follow their own objectives to
yes,
such an extent that you get distracted, but they do not. And my dog will act like it's doing something and peek at me in his peripheral to see if I'm looking before he tries to get to the trash. But he'll try 10 times in 5 minutes and be nonchalant about it, like he's not doing it, but he's really trying to get that window of opportunity, and they
like
will.
kids.
They're tactical like that. It's very interesting.
They're like kids.
They
Now,
are.
here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. I know for a fact, because I check their poop daily. There's not a day it doesn't go by. And even when I let them out and they decide to poop over there, I'm walking over there and I'm looking at poop. It is important. I'm going to give you guys some insight tonight, especially some of you that have had dogs that have had, say, pyometria, for example. Okay, I'm going to give you guys some insight, so that, because too many times people are like, oh, no, it's just allergy. No, it's not just allergies, Bill. If you're out here feeding the same thing, if you're watching their poop and all of a sudden there's a change, but there's not a change in the consumption of water or the food you're giving, now you got to start dwindling things down. You got to use the process of elimination. It's really that
Right.
simple, right? So let me give you guys a little tidbit. I'm going to come right back to the topic, but the tidbit I wanted to give you is this. When dogs drink out of puddles, that's the biggest red flag, at least for me where I'm at. I'm going to tell you why, okay? That water that they're leaking out of, a bird could have pooped in that area. There's all sorts of fungi, even E. coli in the ground naturally, right? I do live in the country. Mike knows I have neighbors that, grow chickens, others that have cows, so on and so forth. Whenever, whenever it rains, that water could wash in, right? So what ends up happening is a dog could drink out of that puddle of water and you're not looking at their poop. And all of a sudden they go into pasty poop and they're giving you all these signs that they could have a worm that they picked up and you're just not picking up on it. Well, what's happening is every day that you're not realizing this is another day that bacteria or fungal load is multiplying inside of the dog, inside of the intestine, right? The intestine is the most, I want to say not the most, but one of the most important parts, or one of the first parts you need to look at whenever you have a dog showing up with skin, fur, or any other type of issue. Okay. And let me tell you why. What can happen is a female dog can have drank water from a puddle and picked up all these different types of microbes from drinking from the puddle when you weren't looking. All of a sudden, that now got into her intestinal tract and it multiplied before she gave you signs that something was wrong. When she stops eating, when, all of a sudden, she's hiding somewhere, that's usually when you start freaking out and you want to take them to the vet. By that point, what may happen is there's so much overpopulation of that bacteria or fungus or organism going on in the intestine that it can now migrate to other organs. And guess what organ, what female organ that is most important for reproduction is right next to the intestines, Mike?
The uterus.
The uterus. And now you're like, but how in the heck does my female have pyometria when she's in the house? Everything is clean. I clean everything. Everything is on point.
Because the pooper is above the cooter. And so it can get down there. It can fall right down into it.
No, I'm going to take it even a step further than that. Yes, you're right about that. So if your dog has pasty poop, it doesn't take or even watery poop, doesn't take a genius that if that starts trickling down, it's going to touch the vagina and it can make it up the vaginal tract. That's right. But I'm not even talking about that mode of transportation. I'm talking about internally, the gut has so much of that particular organism that it'll start migrating to the organs around it from the inside.
Colonizing, yeah.
Yes. Right. And then you're over here scratching your head. You're like, I clean her butt every day after she poops and this and that, and I clean her cooter and all that. And she's still walking around pyometria. Well, the probiotics that were in the gut, they got killed the minute she started drinking that water with all these organisms that were already there. They overpopulated and took over the gut. Then they started migrating to other organs, right? And by the time you're starting to see the hair falling off or she not wanting to eat or having pain or whatever, it's too late. It's too late.
The poop is the key because the digestive tract in the stomach is the key. So if a dog is healthy and there's no, unhealthy circumstances between the organs of the dog or anything like that, if you watch the poop, then that's the variable that all these problems cycle through. And it's the first sign that you'll see that something is wrong. I've gotten to where I can notice different types of diarrhea on a pup. And I can tell you whether it's diarrhea from the body trying to reject something or if it's diarrhea because the dog has eaten too much. or what's caused it by the way it looks, because
Yeah.
I watch it.
Yeah, a lot of times we overlook the gut, but the gut talks to us, man.
Yeah.
We have a question here from Christopher Tartamella. Some say dogs can drink out of almost any type of water and it's fine. Should we not allow this? Curious, as my dogs love outdoor water. So here's the thing. I've heard the same thing. And again, it is unfortunate. It is unfortunate that we have breeders or even trainers or even people that are just lazy that don't want to do the research.
Mm-hmm.
So it is true that because dogs are carnivores, their stomach acids are 7 times stronger than that of humans. This is true. And it is also true that a viral load coming through their mouth, through the food, when it gets to the acids in the stomach, a lot of times, a lot of the viruses, bacteria, and fungi are killed. This is true. Here's the problem. Water, first of all, it does not remain in the stomach long enough, and it lowers a lot of that acidity when it hits the stomach, first of all. Second of all, a lot of these organisms have the ability to encapsulate whenever the environment is not to its favor. So they're able to actually create a capsule or a shield around their bodies, right? And make it right through. For example, cephalosporins, right? Somebody was talking about they have a dog that likes licking bird poop. That's the worst kind of poop you ever want to see a dog lick. There's something called cephalosporins. That thing will make it through the dog's stomach and into the intestine and tear your dog to pieces. So, no, you do not allow your dog to just drink any water. That's just completely erroneous, irresponsible. And it's one of the reasons, if you're allowing this to happen, why your dog will come up with illnesses left and right. And you don't even know what hit you. And that's because you're allowing your dog to do this. So no, don't ever allow your dog to just drink water out of anything. That's the wrong answer. In fact, I made a video not so long ago talking about the water bowls, right? A lot of you keep just pouring water in the same water bowl. There's a bacterial film around it. You stick your hand in the water and you touch it. Sometimes the bacterial film is colored. Sometimes it's transparent. If you're able to stick your hand in the bowl and it feels slimy on the sides, yeah, that's a biofilm. And what that means is the bacteria, remember I said they encapsulated? They created a shield around themselves inside of that bowl. And they're only going to come out and colonize whenever the environment is to their liking. How do you like them apples? Right? So that's why it's important, man. That you know the access to water is very important. I can tell you right now, with this that just happened, it rained yesterday, rained again today. I sure hate it for my dogs, but they're not going out there. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. With the amount of dogs I have, it is completely impossible for me to have my eyes on every single one of them for every single second and guarantee that they're not going to be licking water out of a puddle. So until the puddles are gone, we're not going out. That's just the way it's going to roll, right? Now, before we came on, I was talking to Mike, and Mike tells me, he says, hey, man, out of nowhere, my boy is letting out some gas that could clear a funeral home, right? You just told me that, Mike, did you?
I did, yeah. And
Okay.
I never heard a dog fart for 3 to 5 seconds long like that. It's something like I never heard. It's pretty crazy, but
So what I was telling Mike, and literally it was about 2 or 3 minutes before we came on, is that gut. Look, I keep telling you, the gut. So I spoke about the poop because the poop comes out, it's coming out the gut, right? So also, if all of a sudden you're feeding the same thing and your dog is letting out gas that is just raunchy, what that's telling you is your dog's environment has just changed, and that outside environment is currently starting to change the inside.
Mm-hmm.
This is facts, fam. This happens, right? This just totally happens. I just explained to you during springtime and summertime. If you're down south, you live in a high humidity area, your dog is going to be exposed to more bacteria, to more fungi, and to more, not just more parasites, okay, but to more vectors. You know what a vector is, Mike?
I don't.
All right, I'm going to hit you with it. So let's talk about heartworms real quick, right? Heartworms are transmitted by mosquitoes. Mike, you ever seen a mosquito flying around over there in Arkansas when you're in negative 10-degree weather?
No.
But I'm pretty sure right about now they're flying around, right? Because we're in spring.
They are in Arkansas, yes.
Okay.
I don't have any right here, but they're, yes, I got you.
But you get my point. Spring is bringing the water, is bringing water puddles, is bringing more standing water. Mosquitoes are laying eggs. Now you got a vector. So now all that mosquito has to do is go ahead and suck the blood from a dog that has heartworms and then fly and then prick your dog. And guess what? He's the vector that just transmitted that parasite into your dog.
So the vector is the carrier.
Correct. But let's not stop on mosquitoes. What about the flies, Mike?
Right.
Where the
All
flies
they do is land on shit all day long.
That's what they love.
Yeah.
Right. And so now, right, we know, for example, that when the poop comes out, the excrement comes out, E. coli and other bacteria that are meant to be in the gut, all of a sudden that fly landed there, laid its egg or did whatever it does, dance, whatever. Now it flies and it lands on your dog's food. This is why we have a routine in my yard where we serve food. They have 5 minutes to eat it. If you didn't eat it, you're not, that's it. It's gone. You have to wait till the next day when we're going to feed you again. And that's how we're protecting ourselves from that particular vector, which is the fly. Okay.
Right.
The fly can get your dog sicker faster than just about any other insect except that mosquito I just spoke to you about. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just, do you purify your dog's water? No, I don't purify my dog's water, nor am I telling anybody out here to have to do that. What I am saying is make sure that your dog is drinking the water you want it to drink. I'm going to give you an example of my yard, and you guys decide to do whatever you want with yours. My yard, my dogs are going to drink the tap water. Okay. That water bowl gets washed every single day. No, not every other day, not every 2 days, every single day. It gets washed with a sponge, right? And you know how sponges, Mike, they have that spongy side, and then at the very top, they have that rough side. Right. That rough side is there for a reason. So you can break that film, right? Now, we don't have film in ours because we're washing it every day. So we don't give the film a chance to stay there. Right. But we wash it every day for that same reason. We don't want there to be a biofilm because the minute there's a biofilm there, there's a biofilm inside of your dog's gut. And now what happens? You have probiotics that are inside of the gut. Those probiotics are helping break down food and are keeping everything in check. However, you have now not cleaned your dog's water bowl, or however you give them the water, whether it's in a bucket or whatnot, and there's biofilm there. Now, when the dog is drinking that water, he's also taking in that bacteria that's going to go into the gut and is going to kill the probiotic and take over the gut lining, create a biofilm the same way it does on that bowl or bucket. And now you're going to have a seriously hard time getting rid of it. Right? So this is why water, the water I'm talking about, is just tap water. If you want to boil it, go ahead. You don't have to go buy purified water or have a fancy filter. No, none of that. You got to make sure that bowl is clean on a daily basis. That's what you need to make sure, at least in my case.
How do you
That's how
feel
we run
about
it.
the licket systems?
Those
Do
are
you feel,
good.
yeah,
We're really looking into it.
Mhm.
I should have brought one here to show you the little metal ones,
yeah.
a little metal nipple that
Yeah. It's
pigs
really
have.
cool, man. And
Yeah.
you know, you can wipe them down real easily, and then you know everything that they get is coming straight out of a clean, you know, clean source.
Yes, absolutely. And it's not standing water, right?
Hmm.
And you're limiting also, the only thing I don't like about them liquors, I can tell you already, I haven't put them in there, but I already know my dogs. At least at first, it's going to be creating puddles on the ground. Right?
Hmm.
So the way we set up our kennels is we have these fans that are constantly blowing on the outside. When they go inside, there are fans that are blowing, and we have an air conditioning system that's even cooler, right? To keep them even cooler, because we do get high temperatures here. The reason for the outside fans, yeah, it's there to cool the dog, but really that's not what they're there for. Their main job is to keep everything dry. That's why I run them 24/7. The drier you keep it, the less bacterial load you'll have, because they need water as a medium to be able to multiply, right? So,
Yep.
yeah. So,
That's funny you say it, because the reason why we don't have mosquitoes in this area is because we don't have any standing water in this region that's not either running, which they can't lay eggs in, or
right.
it's a pond and it has fish in it and they'll eat the eggs.
Yeah,
So
they
there's
eat the
not
larvae.
really a lot of puddles on this in this land in this region, so we don't have mosquitoes.
Well, that's
Nope.
that's a good problem to have. But a lot of times I get hit up, man, and people are telling me, "Hey, my dog's licking their paws. Please help me. They're brown. They're changing colors. I see that orangey brownish coloring on the nails. The bellies are breaking out. They're having hot spots." So sometimes I ask them questions and they look at me funny. I'll tell them, "All right, do you feed them in a water bowl or a bucket?" Why? Because I already know majority of people that are feeding in buckets. How many times are people going to empty out that bucket on a daily basis, wash it out, and refill it again?
Not
They
often.
normally don't, because it's more labor intensive, right? So that's why I ask those questions. The other thing I ask is, how often do you clean your kennels, and what are you using?
That's a great
Right?
question.
We're going to be making videos on this stuff. You guys better tune in if you want more information on it. But it's really important, because I'll get people that tell me, "Oh, we bleach every day." Because unfortunately, in our community, they tell me what I want to hear, not really what's going on, because they don't want to look bad in front of me. But in reality, I can't help you if you're lying to me, right? So if you're using bleach every single day, first of all, let me explain something to y'all so you don't come thinking that you got to impress me. Bleach, right, is very acidic. If you use bleach every day, what's going to end up happening to your kennels is it's going to start attracting mold, right? And attracting fungus. Why? Because fungus and mold are attracted to acidic environments, right? So if you're
Right.
doing this on a daily basis, right, you might end up doing that. Not only that, did you know that bleach actually will start burning your dog's paws if you clean with bleach on a daily basis?
That I
This is
did
not
know.
this is not something that you could do daily. All right,
Mhm.
we bleach once a week, one time a week. That's our big cleaning day. All the other days we're using chlorhexidine, and we dilute it down enough to be able to kill bacteria, right? But not enough to affect our dogs and their paws and their bellies and the rest of their body, right? Also, you got to realize something. I don't care if you're using bleach, or if you're using chlorhexidine, or if you're using vinegar, or your grandmother's cleaning, whatever. If you're not brushing it, if it's not breaking the film, you're not doing anything.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
what do
they
you
have a
mean,
way.
Raul? Can you break
Yeah.
that down for me? I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna break it down for you. A lot of you pick up the poop, throw it in the bag, then you come with the hose, wash it off, and we're good. Or 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 you wash it off and you throw bleach on it. And then you walk away for 10 minutes, you come back and you wash that off and you're good. That's not good. That's not going to work. Sorry to break your bubble, but that's not going to work. You see, You see evolution, bacteria. I've been talking to you about these organisms. A lot of them have the ability to encapsulate when the environment is not to their favor. So they create a biofilm. That same biofilm we were talking about inside of the bucket, they can create that right inside of your kennel surface on the floor. They can create a biofilm. And if you're not brushing it
in the porous texture of the concrete or whatever,
yes, they create a biofilm that the bleach is not going to be able to penetrate. This is why you need to brush it. You need to put that elbow grease into it. And then once you brush it, you can throw regular dish detergent if you wanted to, and you brush it. And then clean that. Once that's clean and you brushed it and you scratched away as best as you could on that biofilm, then that's when you want to throw the chlorhexidine or the bleach or whatever it is that you're using. To just throw it right on top of it, you're not going to do anything. That biofilm, it's it'll laugh at
pretty crafty.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is years and millions and millions and millions of years of evolution.
Yeah.
Right? We got Shaytree saying, when I asked my vet 15, 20 years ago why my multi-poo and my miniature Yorkie, why they were scratching and licking paws, and she told me to feed them grain-free dog food. Right. And so, Shaytree, here's the thing. And again, I told you guys that this is not an anti-vet platform. I'm not. Okay. But I am one of you. I am one of you in the sense that I've had to walk into a vet's office. I've had vets want to take me on a roller coaster ride to milk me for money. It has happened. I'm not saying that all vets are that way, but I am saying that I have been put in situations where I've realized this. Luckily for me, I have a little bit of medical and biological background. I'm a nurse. So I know when a vet is trying to take me on a long roller coaster ride, and that's why this platform has been built, because an educated consumer is a lot harder for them to take advantage of than somebody that doesn't know what's going on. And that's why we talk about these things and we bring them out to light in this platform, right? And this is why I tell you guys, and I mentioned it to you in the past, to become a member of this channel, you could go down to description below for as little as $5 a month. We could have a conversation just like Shaytree does right here. She has a little symbol. So I make sure that we're going to be answering our member questions before the live is done, right? So real quick, let me come over here. So what I meant to say, Shaytree, is that unfortunately, a lot of vets, some of them realize it and take advantage of the situation. Some of them don't even realize it. Okay, there's a system, right, that's above the veterinary industry. You could start by calling it Big Pharma, right? Big Pharma, and that's just one of many different systems. Big Pharma, what they do is, by the way, it's the big pharmaceutical companies. They want to make sure that the protocols that the vets follow are influenced by them, so that pills and pharmaceuticals and chemicals and medications can be given to your dog as part of the business plan. Right. A lot of times vets don't even realize this. Okay. A lot of times vets truly want to do what's best for dogs and cats and animals, and they'll go to veterinary school. And in veterinary school, they'll be taught to not feed raw and feed dry food because X, Y, Z, and it's logical and rational, and they believe it. And this is how they practice. But the fact of the matter is, we know that Big Pharma, right, influences big veterinary schools, universities throughout the country.
Just like they do nursing or anything else.
Like anything else. How do they do it? Hey, I don't know. Let me not say Texas A&M. Let's say, I don't know, Puerto Rico A&M. Hey, Puerto Rico, guess what? We're willing to build you a brand new library and a brand new veterinary wing. 5.6 million donation. Oh, really? Yeah, no. Do you think any big veterinary university is going to say no to that? Right. But the only thing they want, right, Puerto Rico A&M, the only thing we're going to ask for, right, is that these particular books be part of your curriculum. I'm just throwing an example out there. Well, these particular books preach you shouldn't feed your dog raw. You should feed kibble. Just throwing an example out there, right? So now everybody that's coming through Puerto Rico A&M, right, is learning that you don't feed raw because XYZ can affect the dog in a negative way, and you feed kibble because ABC is the right thing to do, and it's logical or rational, and they believe it in their hearts, and therefore they come out and they practice. There are some vets that truly believe it. Here's the thing. How many times have I not walked into a vet clinic and for whatever reason, I ask to have my dog seen, and before the vet even comes out, they're letting me know that they're a flea and tick free environment. You know what that means, Mike?
It means they're either full of shit or cleaning way too much.
No, what it means is big pharma, right, through their incentives or whatnot, has made it into their business plan. And your dog's about to get a chemical put on him or her, right? That's going to cost you money, which big pharma is going to make a buck on.
Just so they can be in the building.
Right. So realize when you walk into a vet's office, that vet's going to charge you for the visit. $50, $80, $100, however much he wants to charge. That's just for him to look at your dog. That's not for him or her to fix the problem. In fact, the problem may not be something they can fix. That may surprise you, but this is true. And I've had vets look me square in the eye and tell me, "Oh no, this is unfixable." But that $50 charge is going to be on there, whether they could fix it or not. And that flea free, I'm sorry, I keep getting confused with it. That flea and tick free environment, that's big pharma's way of saying, we're also going to charge you for the visit because we're a flea and tick free environment. We're going to give this vet a little kickback. You're going to get a little something, incentive, just enough for us to be part of that business plan. And every time your dog walks in, he's going to make $50, but we're going to make another 50. That's how we're going to roll. Right? So back to your question, Shay. The reason I said all this, and I've spoken on all this, is because 15, 20 years ago, it sounds like to me that this vet over here, okay, was following what the entire industry was pointing to, which was the non-grain or the grain-free dog food. That was the solution. Until all of a sudden, a whistleblower came out, I believe it was either 2018 or 2019, and said, oh, no, wait a minute. DCM, dilated cardiomyopathy, means the heart gets bigger. You're probably thinking, that's great. No, it's hold on. I haven't finished explaining to you what happens when the heart gets bigger. See, it gets bigger. The ventricles go from this to this, but also the wall thickness of the heart goes from this to this. So even though the heart's getting bigger, its pumping capacity is not as strong. When they realize that, then all of a sudden, right, AFCO, which is the one that it doesn't regulate, but it kind of advises, right? Dog food companies and all that good stuff, to add taurine, because they realize that taurine, right, actually fights the dilated cardiomyopathy from grain-free dog food. Here's the deal. Notice how they give you the information. It's all manipulation from the very top, right? So grain-free, if we add taurine, we're good. But they never told you inside of grain-free dog food what was actually causing the DCM. I'm going to give you a quick little hint what was causing the DCM, because my app that we created, which is the Kibble Analyzer app, breaks it down for you. Yeah, breaks it down for you way too easy. By the way, if you want to download the Kibble Analyzer app, all you got to do is go to Kibble Analyzer, type in Kibble Analyzer in your browser, .app, right? What happens is high legume added into grain-free dog food. What's a legume, Mike? Lentils, right? Garbanzo beans, peas, right? They put a lot of this in there because who's making the dog food? Who's making the dry dog food, Mike?
All the big industries that
it's a company.
Yeah.
And what do companies do best for companies?
Maximize profits.
Make money, right? And so you have a carnivore, we're going to feed you some lentils. We're going to feed you some garbanzo beans. What? You got peas? Peas from where? From China? They're what? A dime a dozen? Give me peas from China.
Yeah.
You start giving this to your dog. All of a sudden, Fido starts scratching his ear. Oh, and here you are saying, oh, it's that chicken kibble. He's allergic to chicken. No, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry to tell you. Chicken is the last thing that your dog's allergic to inside of that bag, bro. Did you ever flip the bag? Right? Because here at QBN, we flip the bags.
That's right.
And we break it down for you. But a lot of times, unfortunately, you walk into your vet's clinic, your vet usually will ask a couple of questions, and based on how you've answered them, he's created a profile as to how ignorant are you? How far can I take this? How can I go in a big circle? I'm not saying all of them do that, but they all are human beings.
Vets are known to do
it. Right. And we know that human beings, when you're put in a situation where you can make money off of somebody's ignorance, 9 times out of 10, guess what's going to happen?
Cha-ching. Right? Yeah.
I mean, if I'm saying something stupid, let me know, man. Let me know in the comments, but I'm just giving it to you straight.
I'll tell you right now, man, they'll see a sucker coming a mile away and they're going to get all that they can, especially these city vets, man, that, they don't see anything but, my goldfish, he's swimming kind of slow, and my cat and the cat and dogs become their bread and meat. They got to take those people on a ride just to survive. Whereas a country vet, he's got pigs and cattle and horses, and that's big money stuff, man. So they can be a little more
their business, their business model is a little bit more forgiving than the city slicker. The city slicker, he's got a high rent to pay usually wherever they're at, or they have a big loan where they bought the land and bought the equipment and all that. They got to pay all that stuff off. But you walk in there and you're like, I don't know, Fido's scratching his ear, doc. Well, what are you feeding? Well, I just switched him over to that chicken kibble. Oh no, here's where they put their arm around you.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, we're gonna run all these tests to be sure.
Yeah,
we got Hill Science up front, and that's what we recommend.
That's
it. We're gonna start with this probiotic and this supplement and this.
Why would they start you on a probiotic, Mike? No, that's at the end when you're already $3,000 in and you're threatening to leave.
Right.
Then they got to pull in the solution.
Right.
No. Up front, it's like, no, we got Hill Science diet over here. Based on your dog's labs, I'm going to recommend the Hill Science diet I have right here on my shelf. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, man. I know I've gotten a little bit off topic, but I'm having fun tonight. I'm having fun talking about this stuff. It's just funny to me because a lot of times people come to me and they're like, my dog is allergic to chicken. Have you ever fed it
It's
chicken?
possible, but it's extremely unlikely that your dog is allergic to chicken.
Have you fed your dog chicken? Yeah, I bought the kibble bag. It's right. No. Not the kibble bag, sweetheart.
Straight
Yeah.
chicken, no skin on it, nothing, just straight bird meat.
Straight chicken. Have you fed your dogs chicken? No. Okay. Once you do that,
Yeah.
and your dog gets worse, then we can say your dog has a chicken allergy. Till that happens, we're not even talking about that.
He ain't going there, yeah.
Why you say that, Raul? Well, because do you know? And here's the breakdown. Because here's where we come back to: is it an allergy? Is it yeast? Is it the environment? I'm gonna break it down for you. Kibble, first and foremost, is something that has to be put through a machine that's called, I believe it's called a protruder. I could forget. Okay, I could forget. It's something truder, where this kibble is being pushed at high pressure through these little holes, and it's getting sliced. So you get either the little squares or the little
biscuits, yeah,
that you're getting. Okay, now you got to realize kibble has to hold shelf life.
Extruder.
This is a requirement. This is not, this is a requirement. So in order for things to be able to be put on a shelf, they have to be cooked at very, very high temperatures. This is not me saying it. Please do me a favor. Fact check everything I'm saying. Okay. And then come back when this video's done, or if you're catching us on the replay, and let us know if what we're saying is right, or if you caught us on a flat out lie. Call me out. Okay. So the protruder, I forget what it's called.
It's extruder, isn't it?
Extruder. Yeah, extruder. Anyways, the extruder, it has to cook the kibble at very high temperatures, a lot of times over 350 degrees, right? Kyle, do me a favor. Can you bring up, can you go to Google and find out what are the temperatures that kibble is being cooked on? Kyle will bring up a screen here in a minute. Anyways, what ends up happening is, because it's got to be cooked at over 300, 350 degrees, a lot of the vitamins, a lot of the minerals, a lot of the macronutrients, fats, proteins, carbohydrates, everything is being turned into something else. How do I know? How do you know, Raul? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you how protein denatures. Grab an egg, crack it, open it, and pour it on a plate. You're going to notice what we call the egg white is actually transparent. The minute you cook it, it turns white. That protein has denatured. It has changed. It is no longer, you can no longer make it again transparent again. I don't care what you do. You're never going to get it to be what it was. Bottom line. Now, luckily for us, it is useful. All right, so Kyle, go ahead and zoom in. So he's saying 250 to 350 degrees, 120 Celsius to 180 degrees Celsius. Excellent. Now, do me a favor, Kyle. Can you look up vitamin C, which is probably the most important vitamin for your dog? Take this down and tell me vitamin C, when does it start denaturing? I believe it's somewhere around 140 degrees, right?
Yeah, I was going to say 150 or 180, I forget, but it's
somewhere
nowhere
around
near that.
Right. Somebody over here is saying, extruder. My apologies. Thank you for correcting me. Extruder. All right. So what ends up happening is you're feeding all these vitamins and minerals and proteins and carbohydrates and fats. You're cooking it at such a high temperature. The label is saying, oh, your dog is getting 100% of this and 120% of that. Well, guess what? When it goes through that extruder, it ain't no longer 100%. I can guarantee you that. Yeah. It got denatured. Then not only did it get denatured, here's the other kicker. Air, just air. All right, so he found it. So at 30 to 60 degrees, so between 86 degrees and 140 degrees Fahrenheit, vitamin C, look, it's saying it there. Initial degradation between 86 and 140 degrees, particularly in moist, oxygen-exposed conditions. Let's stop right there.
That's the other thing.
Oxygen-exposed condition. I was just getting to that point. Oxidative stress is caused by simply being exposed to air. So not only did that this vitamin C go through the extruder and it got denatured. Now it's going to go through oxidative stress.
Yeah, when you
Right
got
there
that bag of
on the
kibble
shelf.
that's open, you open it and it's sitting over there, and you just dip into it every day, and it's been open since it was opened. You don't even close it. It's having a lot of oxidative stress, or whatever's left in there is losing.
This is why, Kyle, do me a favor, bring up my NuVet, because I got to throw it out there, because everybody here sits and says, oh, no, this is a sales pitch. This guy keeps throwing that. No, man, this is not a sales pitch. If you don't want to go this route, you don't have to. But Nuvet NuJoint DS is cold pressed, is made at human food grade level. The green bottle is the multivitamin. It's got the minerals. And guess what? They're 100% bioavailable, 100% natural. Secondly, over here, the blue bottle, that's your anti-inflammatories. A lot of you are going to say, well, NuJoint talks about joints. My dog's not limping. Yeah, your dog may not be limping, dummy. But if your dog's scratching the ear, if your dog's getting redness in the chest, if it has hot spots, if it's licking its paws, if they're turning brown, guess what? That's internal inflammation that's starting to come out, because yeast does not start on the outside. That's the symptom that you're looking at. Yeast starts in the gut. Remember the whole explanation I just told you about the water and everything your dog eats and looking at their poop? Because you want to make sure that gut, it's in its optimum state. The minute that gut goes into an unbalanced state, that's when you're going to start seeing the picture over here, where your dog is red here, the eyes starting to lose hair, and you're over here thinking it's an allergy. And you show up like a dummy to your vet. Yeah, he's got chicken allergy ever since I put him on that chicken kibble. That's the worst thing you could ever tell a vet.
Yeah,
because you're about to go on a ride.
About what's going on.
Yeah, you're about to go on a full ride. And guess what? You're going to pay for it. The whole thing.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. And it happens over and over again. I don't know how many times I get either a text, or sometimes I get a call when it's a channel member.
Yeah.
I tend to the calls, and at the end of the story, they missed the video where I was talking about, make sure you're feeding probiotics to your dog, kefir. Make sure you're feeding Nuvet NuJoint DS. Well, why would I want to feed that? It cost me $100, $105. Yeah, $105 for 90-day supply. That's the part you forgot. Mm-hmm. Second of all, do you rather pay that $100 for 3 months coverage, where your dog's immune system and inflammation is going to be at check? Or do you much rather walk into that clinic, pay that $100 consult visit? Your vet's not going to, he's not going to forgive you on. Also, that flea and tick free environment that big pharma is going to make sure you get charged regardless. And then you don't even know if this is really going to get solved, because we're going to figure it out on your nickel. That's the game we're going to play.
Yeah, the figure it out game. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to figure it out. But on your nickel part, that's the important part.
Mm-hmm.
That's the important part, because we're going to figure it out. Oh, you know what? It wasn't that. Can you believe that? Well,
let's try this.
Let's try this other option on your nickel.
I really like the way you brought up earlier and talked about how people, they tell you what you want to hear and not the truth.
Right.
And the truth is, just about most people feed their dogs kibble. And if you're feeding your dog kibble, no matter what kind of damn kibble it is, it's lacking nutrition. Your dog needs to be healthy. The fact of the matter is, Raul pushes this product because it provides that. It provides the full spectrum between those two products of everything that your dog needs, and it's probably not getting. And it's going to save you money in the long run, because you're not going to be taking your dog to the vet for all these things that you don't understand.
This is 100% correct. Wait, Kyle, before I bring you on, real quick, let me just say this, man, because if I forget, I'm going to kick myself real quick. Just a side note here, real quick. First of all, I need to give a shout out to my boy Blueberry.
Yes,
that's my boy Blueberry. Okay. The reason I'm going to shout him out, along with Angel Chavero, Okay, Angel Chavarro's the handler that has been handling him. The reason I need to shout him out is because this boy right here, tell you what, I can show it better than I can say it. Check it out.
The way you walk, the way you stand, the way you do you, blueberry motherfucker you. That's right.
There you go. There you go. Sorry for the bad word, but that song needs to have it in order to give it that punch. All right. If that dog looks healthy to you, at any point, all right, just realize that boy is on Nuvet NuJoint DS along with every single dog in my yard. The reason I'm shouting out Angel Chavarro and my boy Blueberry is because my boy Blueberry, well, wait, before we get there, I feel my boy Blueberry has everything it takes to be a grand champion. Well, Raul, you may just be subject. Well, let me give you a little something. I don't breed on emotion. I've told you guys this is a business, and my breeding program must provide for itself. Let me give you a little insight on this boy. This boy was a third pick male. He was not a first pick male nor a second pick. In fact, he was the last pick male out of a 6-pup litter that had 3 males and 3 females. I pulled the trigger because I knew what I was seeing. He had what I wanted, right? Here's the deal, though. This boy's personality, he's an omega. He's a big freaking teddy bear. This dude doesn't fight, doesn't want to, take over. He doesn't want to be a beta and enforce anything. All right. So that's why I'm taking my hat off, because Angel Chavarro and this boy actually clicked on the last show that he went into. And little old Blueberry right here is an unofficial champion, right? Once I get the certificate, we're going to go ahead and post it. But I just had to make a quick side note.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah. Not only that, look at this boy's coat, Mike. Look. I mean, his structure's on point, but look at his coat. Does this boy look unhealthy to you?
No.
Now, here's the crazy part. On the last show, he I guess some ants got to him or something. He did pick up a little something. It's unfortunate, but we're going to throw him back in the ring. He's going to go after his grand champion. I urge you, if you watch my dog go in the ring, I want you to see his coat. I want you to look at his fur. I want you to see how healthy and shiny everything is. Okay. Didn't happen this last time, unfortunately. Between where he left here and where he went there were times that he was on grass in Alabama. I don't know if he's allergic to that Alabama grass or if there was an ant pile or what. But just letting you know, the dogs here in my yard, they're all on Nuvet NuJoint DS. And I live in one of the most humid places in the country. And it goes to show their health, their fur, their everything is showing up the way it is because they're on this stuff right here. I do also feed raw, by the way, just to be fair. All right, listen up. Let me bring in my dude from the back, Kyle. He's been asking for a word here for a minute. What up, Kyle?
I was just going to tell you what else I found. That's what I brought on the screen about vitamin C and kibble.
Go ahead, man.
Oh, I just brought it up for you to look at.
Oh, okay. He was just bringing this up right here. Yeah. Key points about vitamin C and kibble: primary use as a preservative. Vitamin C is frequently added to high-end foods to replace synthetic preservatives like BHA and BHT. Real quick, so you know, BHA and BHT, I forget which one exactly. One is linked to liver failure. The other one's linked to cancer. Look it up, man. We're not making it up. Look it up. And I'm bringing this straight out of my head because I made so many videos off of these. Helping maintain food. Limited nutritional value in kibble because vitamin C is fragile and unstable. Let me tell you something about vitamin C, which is probably the most important vitamin your dog is able to get. Vitamin C, just like in humans, is the main vitamin the body uses to repair, period. And whether you like it or not, when you lift your arm, there are micro, tiny tears that your body has to repair constantly. If your dog has to, borrow from Peter to pay Paul, because there's not enough vitamin C coming in. That's why a lot of times you have dogs who go easty-westy. I'm going to tell you why. Real quick explanation. The body will always prioritize the most important organs, which are the heart, the kidneys, the liver, and the brain. All right? That's numero uno. That's who's going to get vitamin C first. If there's not enough vitamin C going around to the limbs, that's where you're going to start getting some of this, right? Because either that, or it doesn't have enough glucosamine, or it doesn't have enough whatever. This is another good reason why NuVet is so effective, because the vitamin C is completely bioavailable along with everything else, the minerals and the other vitamins. Real quick here, let me go ahead and take a look at the comments. By the way, we got Impala saying, congrats, Blueberry. Angel Severo's a stand-up guy, says Kevin Scowl right. Yeah, I agree, man, 100%. Angel has done nothing but wonders with my dog. But not only that, man, every time he's taken my dog in the ring, the communication level is outstanding.
He's a true professional.
Other handlers in the past, and communication is definitely not their strength. This dude is as original as it gets.
He's a true professional, man.
Yeah, he really is, man. Yeah. Martin is saying, are you studying Blueberry out later on? We'll talk about it later on, Martin. Right now, I'm really not thinking about it. In fact, what I'm looking at, if you've been following us, is we're starting our XL line from the bottom up. Blueberry will be part of that. Those of you that have followed our genetic content, he's got 2 low ALT genes together stacked. Not only does he have it on the genetic side, we're seeing it phenotypically or right on the dog when you look at him, which means it's alive and well, and he's going to be able to pass it. So, yeah, man, we're really excited. Look, we have T-Shep saying, I'm using NuVet Plus, and he's still been scratching every year during the spring transition. Well, T-Shep, here's what I just spoke about, man. You say you're giving NuVet Plus and the dog's still scratching. Why are you not giving NuJoint with it? I just explained the blue bottle is your anti-inflammatory. So you're giving the green bottle and you want it to clear everything, but you're not giving the blue bottle that goes with it. That might be your problem, my friend.
They are the dynamic duo, man. They work really well together.
Yeah, Miss Fredia is saying Blueberry Blues, congratulations. Awesome job. Shout out to Angel. It's been great live tonight. Appreciate you guys. Till the next time, Bully fan. Well, so Fredia is pretty much telling me shut up and we're leaving. Bye. All right, Fredia. Hey, all right. You've been around long enough. Let me bring my dude from the back. Kelvin Skull is calling it pollination. Okay. He's saying, yeah, okay, I see. He says, looking good in the ring. I've seen a few clips, Real Bull, and he's saying pollination going on in Alabama. That very well could be it, because he broke out when he got to Alabama. The crazy part is the minute he came back to Texas, Angel was like, dude, you're not going to believe everything he was telling me that was going on Saturday and Sunday while the dog was in Alabama. And then when I seen him, he's like, dude, the dog's like 60% better already. I've done nothing. So there you have it, man. Oh, T-Shep says he's giving both. Okay, well, then you should have said that. So T-Shep, maybe what you need to do is rewatch this entire live, because it almost seems like you missed what I said earlier. Start looking at the water bowl. Start seeing your dog's poop. Check out what you're feeding your dog. If you're feeding kibble, that may be part of the problem. You got to realize dogs are carnivores. Kibble, because they're out to make money, a lot of times they have the cheapest carbohydrates in there, from cracked pearl barley to peas to potatoes to rice. You may be part of the problem in the sense that you're feeding the dog the wrong thing. All right. So just giving you insight, man. Look into that. If you want more information, you could always go to our YouTube channel right here. Go to my homepage. There's a scroll bar. Scroll all the way to the end. There's a search button. Click on that magnifying glass and type in whatever you're looking for. It should be able to help you out. Oh, he says real food cooked. All right. Well, listen, we're not going to do
there is always the chance that the dog actually does have an allergy, and it could be seasonal.
I don't know.
But-
We would have to do a full-blown consult.
Right.
T-Shep, unfortunately, I do see that you're not a channel member. I wish you were so that we could really get into it and break it down. Love what you guys doing. Keep up the outstanding work. Thank you so much. Frida saying Alabama has got high allergies, human and animals. I've seen several dogs with them. Thank you so much. Let me bring my dude from the back, Hollywood. Hollywood.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, you need to start us up, man.
It's your boy Hollywood Holland, your boy at the back of the queue, catching you on the next one.
All right. Now's your turn, Money Mizike.
Creek Bend Kennel out of Arkansas, man. Money Mike, your co-host with the most. We'll be catching y'all on the next one.
Hey, you already know we shifted everything to Sundays at 7 p.m. I hope the information we gave you has been able to help you. If you want more information, if you want a deep dive, make sure to go to our homepage. Click on the magnifying glass, type in what you're looking for. Look, we also have a playlist that's Get Rid of Yeast playlist. Check it out. Those videos are made not just telling you how to bathe your dog, but also what to feed it to get rid of the yeast. Either way, guys, I want to appreciate you for joining us. Be Raul from the queue, and I'll be catching you on the next.
We are going for a whole hour, straight dog talk and the song. Jump on in and speculate. Show up on time, don't be weak and late. We are community, so don't hate.